Okay guys, so today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to do a player review, we're not going to do tactics or instructions, we're not going to do an episode of the Champions League, but it is still going to be FIFA related. And you may ask, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make a tier list. And a tier list over what, you might ask? A tier list over the most toxic things that a FIFA 22 player does. We have all of these things set up, and I'm ready to get this off my chest. Now, where's something I can inevitably throw when I get mad? Here we go. That'll be good. Just like a small towel that we can just like whip around or something, or just like toss it when when I get pissed off. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just leave this right here, right next to me while we're doing this. So yes guys, we are going to be making a tier list over the most toxic things that a FIFA 22 player does. We have 5 different tiers, we have 11 things that we have to discuss, which may not seem like a lot, but obviously there's some discussion going on. We have things all the way from messaging you after a game, all the way to quitting while it is tied. We also have the 5 tiers right here with certified rat. Under that is Scum Bump, then cringe, childish, and then mildly annoying. Now I will leave the link in the description down below, that way you guys can also make your tier lists over this. You can send them to me on Twitter, you can put them in the Discord, you can put them in the comments of the video, whatever you want to do. Send me what you think is just the worst of the worst of the worst that FIFA 22 players do. Along with that, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and without further ado, let's start this tier list. My blood pressure is, I'm assuming, going to skyrocket by the end of this. Okay, we're starting off with a pretty easy one, using a 5 at the back. Now, I've been noticing that people have been using 5 at the back more in the recent few weeks, and it has been quite annoying. Same thing, 5-3-2 that people have been using in the FIFA 21 games. But we're gonna go ahead and put this in the Scum Bum tier. Now, I know a lot of people would be putting that in the certified rat tier, but I don't think it's on that level because, one, I think there are a couple other more defensive formations in the game. Yes, more defensive than a 5 at the back, which are 4-2-2, 4-4-2 defend, anything with 2 defensive mids really. And the thing is, there are no 5 at the back formations that actually have defensive mids. None of them do. And so I do think, again, there's going to be more defensive formations because you could make like 2 banks of 4. You can make a bank of 6 with like a 4-2-2, 4-4-2 defend, and it's just hell to play against. So yes, it is not the most defensive formation, and then technically you could make any formation attacking. Now obviously the players that use 5 at the back will probably not be using the 5 at the back in an attacking way, but still it is a thing that can be done. So yes, we're just going to put it in the Scum Bum tier. I don't think it's the rattiest of the rat, especially compared to some of the other things that we have here. Next up, we have using the same meta players over and over again. I think this is going to be a little bit controversial. I'm putting this in the childish tier. The thing is, I don't really find it that bad because not only are people using players that are obviously good, but they're also cheap, right? It just kind of makes sense that people are going to be using the Fekir and the Benzema a lot because they're good and they were cheap to do. Why wouldn't you do that? Along with that, I think it's way more important about how you actually play in-game versus the team you have. I would much rather play against the same boring meta players with Fekir, Benzema, and Kapembe and then the whole team, but they actually play in a fun attacking way versus someone using a fun, new, exciting team but parking the bus, playing 5 at the back, and doing all of that stuff. Just to add, we don't know if someone is also playing this FIFA for like the very first time, right? It could be someone's very first Ultimate team. So yeah, of course they're just going to be using some of these meta players, right? They don't really know what else to use, right? They haven't experienced like a fun Ultimate team yet because it's their very first one, and 22 is not really a good one to start out with. So we're putting that in the childish tier. It can be annoying, but obviously we have to take into consideration what other people are doing. Next up, we have quitting while tied. This is an easy one, obviously certified rat tier. Everyone in the game knows that if you quit when it's tied, you obviously get the loss, but the other person doesn't get the win, which is outrageous. You're the one quitting, you're the one forfeiting the match. Why shouldn't the other player get the win? That just makes literally no sense whatsoever. And I just want to add that yes, obviously it's always annoying no matter when this happens, whether it's division rivals, foot champs, whatever, but if you do it in friendlies, that is the worst of the worst. That is a tier above certified rat. You're somehow king of the rats. That is the worst of the worst. I told you I was gonna use this, wouldn't I? Whatever, quitting while tied is a certified rat. We'll move on. Next up, we have the long celebrations. We're putting this in the cringe tier. This may just be me, but I personally did not mind nearly as much when someone would just dab on me compared to doing these long ass celebrations that take 20-30 seconds to do. If anyone remembers the FIFA 22 celebration where you would roll out the mat, they would go ahead, sit down, put their hands behind their head, put their knee up as well and just kind of relax for a solid 3 or 4 seconds. Then they'd get up and then they'd roll that little imaginary towel back up and they start jogging back and then clapping their hands. No, 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 no. That is horrible. Just dab on me. It took like 3 seconds. Just please dab on me. I also love the fact that EA added in these longer celebrations, which I think are not toxic, but then remove the toxic celebrations, which may or may not be toxic, but they're like 2 seconds long. So yeah, really fantastic stuff by EA kind of adding to that. But again, long celebrations going in the cringe tier. Next, we're going to finish off by putting one in every single tier with the someone spamming slide tackles. We're going to be putting this in the mildly annoying one. Now, this is one that may not be known to a lot of people, and it doesn't really happen very often at all. But when someone's typically losing, they just go ahead and just start playing murder ball. They will go ahead, slide tackle every single chance that they get. And the thing is, FIFA and EA don't really know what a foul is, and so they could 2-foot someone in the face and it would be let off with a warning. Now obviously if you're winning, that's not a huge deal, but sometimes people do it when they're tied or they're losing by 1, and so they can get away with just murdering you and just shivving you on the field, and they can go ahead and get back into the game, or in some cases even take the lead, just because, again, EA and FIFA don't know what fouls are. So when that happens, that can obviously be horrible. And I've noticed it a little bit more this year compared to previous years. Next up is parking the bus. Again, very easy one. That's going in the certified rat tier. If you have to rely on them constantly because you're not good enough to play the game, then you are a certified rat. Just get better at the game. I know that's a certain, get good. That has a thing that has a lot of horrible things behind it, but genuinely, get better at the game. You are unbelievably lucky that EA is catering to you and your needs of a casual and bad player. So for the love of God, learn how to play the game, learn how to manually defend, and then guess what? You'll actually be better. And then you can go ahead and score goals and not have to rely on the defensive AI just catering to your every need. Really tempted to use this again, but I will save it for something a little bit more, which is coming up later. So next up, we have overbidding on players. We're going to put this in the childish tier. Now, if you don't know what this is, basically it's just like someone who overbids on the...
Actually, it's actually someone who is a moron. You have to be the dumbest person on earth if you're going out there and just going, oh, look, the gold player I want, and you buy them, and you don't go through and you search for the lowest bid. If you go ahead and just go, oh, yeah, buy, moron status. Screw you, Scum Bump tier immediately.
I think someone might feel strongly about that one. We'll just move on. Next, we have the spamming overpowered mechanics. Now, this one I am very torn on. I really want to put this in the certified rat tier or the Scum Bump. It's in between, I think, just for the sake of not loading up certified rat tier. I think we're going to put that in the Scum Bump tier because there's at the very least like 1 or 2 things in my mind that I can maybe try to reason with why someone does it. Now, there are certain overpowered mechanics that I would absolutely never use, like the flick up crosses in FIFA 19. If you did that, you are just a certified rat, period. Even the pros who did that, rat. That's just how it is. But then there are other ones like the driven shots from FIFA 17 and 18 where you just had to use them in order to score. Again, like that would be kind of more of like a cringe or Scum Bump overpowered mechanic. So that's why I'm kind of in between the two, because some of them you kind of have to use and that literally everyone uses. Other ones are just ones that if you use it, it's because you're just not good at the game and you need to get better. Next up is the rubber banding. Now, we're putting this in the childish tier. I'm putting it there because it's something where pretty much no matter what, if someone rubber bands against you, you should get the win, right? So at the very least, you actually do benefit from it. It's just wasting your time. Along with that, there actually are instances where both players should be rubber banding their controller. Like if you're doing an objective in friendlies and you have to like score a goal, but you have to play the whole game, for example, then yeah, you maybe have to rubber band. You kind of do what you have to do. That's not the worst thing in the world. However, if you're 4-0 down in the 30th minute of FUT Champs or in Division Rivals and you rubber band your controller, why? Just quit. I don't think you need the 800 coins 2 or 3 months into FIFA. I think you'll be just fine. Maybe quick sell a player. I think you'll be good. And so again, for that reason and that reason alone, we're putting that in the childish tier. You're just wasting everyone's time, including your own. But we'll move on. Next up, messaging after a game. We're gonna go ahead and put this in the cringe tier as well. Now let's be real. Everyone's message after a game. Everyone's gotten a message after the game. Some of them are hilarious. Other ones are just horrible. Genuinely. It's something that literally everyone has done. So you send it, you forget about it, you take the abuse, you forget about it, and you move on. So we'll put that in the cringe tier, and just like the message, we'll move on. Lastly, we have Lastly, we have using glitches, and this, probably the easiest one, or at least one of the easiest ones, that is a certified rat tier, end of, period. If you have to use a game-breaking glitch in order just to compete with someone, again, you are not good at the game and you have to get better, for the love of God. Like, what happens in other games besides FIFA that aren't riddled with these glitches? What do? This is why I am so unbelievably happy that the corner glitch is getting patched, and I cannot wait for that day to come. In fact, when that actually happens, I'm not even going to play FIFA. I'm not going to upload a video. I'm not going to do a stream. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to be on Twitter, and I'm just going to be scrolling through the timeline, looking up every single person that is hating on the patch that corner glitches got nerfed. All right, I'm gonna be on my couch, phone in one hand, scrolling away with my in the other hand, and just going to town, and I mean for hours, okay? And it's going to be the most glorious of times watching every single one of you certified rats who have to score goals by breaking the game doing this corner glitch struggle to even stay within Division 6. And it is going to be the greatest thing in my life. Oh, that was a pretty long rant, but one that is thoroughly deserved for you absolute rats using these glitches. You are, without a doubt, the rattiest of the rat. So with that great mental picture that I left you of me on my couch, we're gonna go ahead and stop it there. So this is my completed tier list of the most toxic things that FIFA 22 players do. Again, I will leave the link in the description down below. That way you guys can go ahead and make this tier list yourself. Send me what you guys think is the worst of the worst when it comes to FIFA 22. Put them in the comments, send them to me on Twitter, in the Discord, wherever you want to do, and we'll go ahead and have an open discussion about this. But like I said, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been DMG. Peace.